Today I'm talking to Leo Holesgrove, Guidewire Software South Africa country lead, about who they are, what they do, and how they help insurers adapt to a changing world. We explore Guidewire's focus areas, their role in digital transformation, and some of the key challenges and trends shaping the insurance technology space today. Welcome, Leo. It's great to chat.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, Renee. It's really good to be with you. And thank you for inviting me into your space. And
Yes.
looking forward to a great conversation.
Yes, I am also looking forward to. I think to start, can you give us maybe a quick overview of Guidewire, who you are, what you offer, and who your main clients are?
Sure. Yeah, Guidewire Software. We're an American software company, established, 2001? And our head office is based in San Mateo in California. So we offer software as a service platform. Specifically in the short-term insurance space and in the US and worldwide and on a subscription revenue basis. So the three main software products are Claim Center, Policy Center, and Billing Center, as well as a number of increasing number of value-added services such as analytics, digital, artificial intelligence, and what we're really proud about is the development of our Guidewire marketplace. So if we look globally right now, we've got over 570 customers. And I think what you might find interesting is it's equating to our market share globally is 20% of the global GWP, gross written premium. And that's in about 42 countries right now. So presently in South Africa, Santam is a full suite client of ours in the process of migrating to Guidewire Cloud, as well as Sastria, and also Road Accident Fund.
Okay. And you are short-term, purely short-term space.
Yes, we specifically focus in the short-term space. We don't do health, we don't do wealth, and we don't do health. And that's one of our strengths. So I mean, and then I think that's really quite important around that is that people understand that all our research and development, our partner ecosystems, the Guidewire Cloud, the marketplace that I'm referring to is all specifically around the short-term space.
And you really understand the market. It would be interesting to hear from you if we've got time at the end on how different the markets is in terms of who you service worldwide. But let's carry on with some of the other topics. Leo, what do you believe is your biggest strength as a company? So basically, why Guidewire above any of your competitors?
Yeah. And I think the one that we just covered now, specifically our short-term focus, gives us our biggest strength. And why I'm saying that is that, one of the things we're really proud about is our unparalleled implementation record in that space. I mean, we have over 1,700 successful projects, and this is supported by the industry's largest R&D team. And this is really important because we have a high percentage of our annual revenue goes straight back into research and development, specifically in the short-term space. And this allows us to close that loop because, we have a couple of global conferences like Connections, which we hold every year in the US, like we have also in South Africa. We had our conference in February, where we get a lot of questions from our existing clients. And can you look at this? Can you shape this? Can you refine that? And that all goes back into the R&D, and that's how we develop the software. And I think also, as I mentioned, our partner ecosystem. But we have a modern platform that leverages that ecosystem for the tactical integrations, an integration layer around it for specific use cases. And and as I mentioned, our marketplace with our largest solution partner community. And I think this all plays into and we see it in what our industry analysts say about us. For example, Guidewire Claim Center. We were recently named the sole dominant provider in a report from Datos Insights on standalone claim systems. And I know South Africans like looking at Gartner. And if you look at Gartner, we're a leader in the top right quadrant for SaaS, software as a service, short-term core platforms. So yeah, in short, I think those are our specific strengths.
Cloud has become a major talking point in insurance. How is Guidewire helping insurers making that transition, and what benefits does it bring?
I think, yeah, it's an interesting one, that, because one has to clarify between cloud and SaaS. Cloud and software as a service, because often you walk into a room and you start talking and people, and it's not because there's a lack of education or a lack of understanding. It's just often people have private cloud and there's and one actually has to unpack and have clarity around what the SaaS offering is, because when one looks at what the costings are, is actually can be very different. Because if you take the Guidewire SaaS offering, Guidewire takes over the full-on software operations. We take on the software development and the software updates as well. So it's a lot of cost that gets taken out of the existing operations that we would take over as software as a service. And through that, we minimize the cost and the risk across IT, and through that generate greater business value, because clients then and our customers can then focus very much on differentiating their offerings and adding value to their customers. That in short, the cloud platform, it's the technical architecture that powers Guidewire's applications, and we then provide insurers with those tools to develop, provision, deploy, and run the Guidewire applications in the cloud. And this is one of the things that people keep on talking about. This allows our customers to increase their business agility, because they're there to drive profitability, right? So to drive their profitable growth, our clients want to be able to accelerate development. They want to reduce the complexity in their IT world. And this very much extends to the digital space, the data space, and analytical applications. So it's I think when we look, also ensure that each customer's core data is also maintained in a single tenancy. And this design also very much ensures security, scalability, and performance.
Legacy systems, it's a topic that we often talk about because cost is an issue. It remains an issue. It's still a stumbling block for many insurers. One, do you agree? And what are you telling insurers why it's not okay anymore?
This almost leads into one in your opening statement, Renette, when you mentioned you want maybe, what's the differences between our market and maybe some of the global, what you're finding in the global markets?
Yeah.
Because in South Africa, that buy versus build conundrum is really something which comes to the fore. Because South Africa, we're a very entrepreneurial society.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pride, and rightly so, in our existing systems. And over years, people have developed. There's a number of companies. They develop their own systems, or they would buy, but they would customize it to such an extent that it's actually you could have built it yourself at the end of the day, kind of thing. So, but for us, what's really important when we talk to clients about this is, transforming legacy systems is really essential for insurers to enhance that operational efficiency, the customer experience, data security, keeping pace with industry standards and customer expectations. Modernization, and it doesn't mean if you're building yourself that you're not modernizing. That's not where I'm going. But the modernization of being able to buy a platform enables insurers to leverage advanced technologies like AI, cloud, APIs, providing that flexibility, the scalability to drive growth and achieve the competitiveness that you're trying to get in that market. Because at the end of the day, legacy systems And often where the legacy systems comes from is a lot of mergers and acquisitions. So there's a lot of siloed databases and different manual processes and so on. So legacy systems often create bottlenecks, and because it's relying on outdated manual processes, or as I mentioned, the siloed data. So upgrading these systems will make your operations leaner, with benefits like faster claims handling, reduced error rates, better allocation of resources, because, going to a SaaS platform, your resources can now focus on the differentiation. They can focus on configuration. They don't have to concern themselves now about keeping the lights on, and brings those, benefits like faster claims handling, reduced error rates. So yeah, insurers who integrate that automation APIs into their workflows, because that's often a big one, workflows between the various systems, reducing those inefficiencies and significantly improving productivity. We see that on an ongoing basis, and we can talk to a little case study just now around that I think is in an area that I'd like to share with you. But legacy system transformation, I think what's important here is isn't just an upgrade. It's a strategic step towards a more responsive, efficient, I don't want to sound like all these consultative terms and stuff, but future-ready, insurance organization. And especially when you start scaling and moving cross borders and these type of things, the amount of time it takes for an internal legacy system to catch up, often, you lose that edge to take advantage of.
While you were talking, I was wanting to ask a question that is from a serious non-IT data person. And maybe I did get your answer in what you said now, but is there, over the years, could you figure out that a system becomes a legacy system in how many years? How many years does it really take? I know you mentioned mergers, acquisitions, you mentioned a whole lot of different things, but randomly, is there like a thing that you can say after so many years, a legacy system is now a legacy system?
I think it becomes a legacy. It's the complexity of it, I think, that actually ends up making it. It's that bowl of spaghetti. Yeah. And it's that bowl. When you hit the wall and you've got this bowl of spaghetti and you just cannot move forward. Because I think what we've got to understand is technology is an enabler, right? Yeah. So it's not a magic pill. So everything starts with your strategy, and everything then, how do you enable that strategy that you want to achieve with the business model, the operating model, and then technology is there to enable it. So you can't start with the technology and then go and, so I think it's when your strategy starts outstripping, or where you want to take your company starts outstripping what your technology can enable, I think that's the trigger point to call it legacy. Okay. I don't know if that makes sense.
Customer expectations are shifting very fast. How does your technology help insurers deliver faster and more personalized experience? And I want to add that a part of the question to say, do you find that clients have sometimes very unique needs compared to their peers in the industry? So it's about personalized experience for your clients. How personalized does it get, and how different does various similar insurers, for example, requirements are?
I think customer requirements across the board are very similar, and then I don't think it doesn't matter if you're South African or if you live in the UK or in Australia. I mean, customers are demanding more and more a fully digital, seamless insurance experience. From buying a policy to filing a claim, everything will happen online, and so customers expect, you're seeing it more and more: instant quotes, quick policy issuance, fast claims processing. All being available and accessible through a multitude of channels, not just one channel, but across the channels that you offer, offering a consistent, personalized, and what they call your clients, your marketing guys, a rewarding experience. So the use of AI chatbots and, and virtual assistants, it's becoming standard. allowing customers to interact with insurers in more efficient and personalized ways. I think you're still going to need the personal touch. I think certain people still would want to speak to somebody. It's not just going to be AI chatbots. But claims management is going to become much more highly automated, with advanced AI technologies, handling routine claims, processing and fraud detection, because if it's a basic claim, there should be just straight through processing, and the AI technologies, and it's just if there's an exception that it'll be handled differently. And insurance also embracing more self-service options that allow customers to modify policies, and this is more and more that you want that a customer can modify, report claims, track the status of their claims in real time. And this will not only improve their customer experience, but it's also reducing a lot of operational costs for insurers. So it's in their interest, and that's where we go back to, the modern platforms and what can be offered.
Cybersecurity, a hot topic, a relevant topic, and one that is top of risk on the risk list for many. Cybersecurity and resilience are becoming critical priorities. I assume it's also non-negotiable at Guidewire.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, customers hand over deeply personal information, right? From medical history, financial data, and everything in between. So if that data isn't protected, trust fades fast. And I mean, when you're working with a client, it's very much around trust, right? And if the company breaks that, so especially in the insurance industry, where security issues can have serious consequences, damage to a customer's ability to get coverage, hits on their financial health, vulnerability to fraud. So, and that's where I must say Guidewire Cloud Platform's been designed with the security as top priority from day one. This means it's strong, it's got built-in protections that are more consistent and easier to scale than what most companies can achieve on their own. So that once again, here we go to legacy versus, modernization. And Guidewire Cloud Platforms handle security at a high scale. We can roll out protections, advanced monitoring, incident detection, response mechanisms across all our customers, not just individually, where with legacy, once again, you've got to build this, for yourself, and you're not gaining from the momentum of what that R&D comes from learning from other clients and other customers. So that's something that would be too expensive and difficult for most companies, as I'm saying, to do on their own, those complexities. So it's what clients count on when they come to a company like Guidewire. They count on that consistency from us.
How far out of interest into a meeting does the cyber question pops up?
Cyber. It's not. It's quite. I mean, it's very relevant. I mean, it's top of mind continuously. But I think people are much more focused these days on automation, AI. How do I get the digital platforms? How do I get that digital wrap? And so on. So and being able to differentiate and get products faster to market and so on. So I think past discussions are very much first around those, and then how do I secure this? How are we going to do it? Because, for example, our cloud offering in South Africa, we do it through AWS, and we actually host it through the Cape Town office in AWS. So they would take care of a lot of that security through their existing systems that they would put in place.
Yeah, I assume it doesn't help you can protect everything, but you can't do what I asked. So I assume that's the order.
Yes.
We have spoken about the case study. That's something I always really enjoy, and it's something we find that our audience also really engage with is when we do on-bid cases and case studies. So in terms of flexibility, speed to market, maybe your comment on that and a case study, that would be really interesting.
No, sure. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, the insurance landscape, I mean, it's a rapidly evolving space, right? So cloud-based core systems and continuous innovation are significant, provide that significant competitive advantage. So yeah, at Guidewire, our R&D teams, the teams that develop the products, understand that importance of equipping insurance with innovative applications that seamlessly integrate into those cloud-based core systems that provide that capability and opportunity, which then provides that flexibility and gets that speed to market. And I mean, our marketplace is one of the really that acts as that centralized hub. We've got over 110 innovative cloud-based applications there, because we focus very much on ourselves as the core. And then we have that layer of the marketplace around us where you can access a variety of specialized and vetted insurtechs and third-party applications, which provide that, which enables a greater, flexibility as such. But a good case study around this, I thought would be a company called San Cristobal. Around flexibility, what they've been able to achieve through implementing Guidewire Cloud. It's one of the largest insurers in Argentina. And the reason why I thought this could be a good, the market in Argentina is almost similar to a South African market. It's not now a case study from America or a case study from Europe. I mean, if we see what's happening in the Argentinian market as such, there's a lot of similarities, to us in South Africa as well. So their move to Guidewire Cloud gave them the ability to face things like inflationary and regulatory challenges, because the high inflation, they had to adapt continuously, and they needed to face those challenges while also being able to launch new products and make rate changes faster, because they also had this fluctuating currencies, as well as being able to deal the various economic challenges that they had. So they now have the ability to issue a new large commercial fleet policy within this, shall we say, dynamic social economic environment in minutes, something that usually took them days. So they've been able to, just some data points on this, they've been able to have a 500% improvement in quoting time, from 7 to 10 minutes down to 2 minutes. They were able to reduce, because they moved from legacy, talking about legacy now, they moved from a legacy system to Guidewire, a cloud platform. And through this, they were able to reduce upgrade times, because this is one of the things that we take control of, right? Upgrades and because I think with our cloud system now, we put through 3 a year upgrades that you can make use of. And they've reduced those upgrade times from usually 6 to 8 months to 2 weeks, because the cloud has been able to enable them to do that. 50% decrease in infrastructure and computing requirements. That's huge. If you start looking at those kind of cost reductions that you're doing in your back end, they're doing 60,000 plus daily quotes, running half the time on usually, and they've achieved a really robust cross-system integration, which is usually always the problem that you have in legacy systems. So that to me was quite an interesting case study, which I think is quite relevant to the South African market.
That's very interesting. Looking ahead, Leo, what trends do you see shaping the future of insurance technology, and how is Guidewire positioning itself to stay ahead, because that's critical, right?
Yeah, look, there's a number of trends, but I think the most important one is AI. AI is a game changer. So, I mean, that's going to help insurers automate routine tasks and processes that have usually traditionally been time-consuming and resource-heavy. So it's taking cost and process and time out continuously. So claims processing, for example, I mean, that will largely be automated going forward using AI algorithms that analyze claims, assess damages, and even predict the likelihood of fraud, because most claims that are being processed are basic run-of-the-mill claims, which you need this documentation, you need this assessor to go out, etc. And AI algorithms can run that whole process straight through processing. And you actually only need to, I mean, a company can put in place certain checks and balances that they could say, okay, if this becomes a problem, human intervention goes down a different channel. But AI can see it taking over claims processing, because it will also significantly reduce the human error and increase efficiency, allowing insurers to process claims faster and also more accurately. The other big thing is when it comes to fraud detection systems. AI is going to play a critical role in identifying suspicious activity, because you look at behavior and you start picking up on this is similar behavior to 3 or 4 other things. And so it'll start preventing fraudulent claims before they get escalated. Yeah, the ability to process vast amounts of data in real time. That's one of the biggest ones, I think. AI will be able to spot anomalies, inconsistencies that human adjusters might miss. So it doesn't just help insurers reduce losses, but also builds trust with customers by ensuring claims are handled fairly and transparently. And I think, yeah, and besides AI, I think the other big one is just, it's more of a broad one, but staying ahead of the competition. Insurers must focus on innovation and technology adoption. And this goes back to legacy versus cloud. It goes back to cloud-based systems, data analytics platforms, AI solutions, as I've just covered in depth, will be key enablers of this kind of transformation.
You touched on fraud, and you mentioned quite a lot of things, but do you have any data to see, could you already see the impact of AI when it comes to detecting fraud? Is there enough stats for you to give me or to share with me that it really makes a difference, or there's still a big learning curve, or because fraud is a massive issue in our industry? Does it really help?
No, definitely. I don't have any data points with me right now, but what I can tell you is the companies, and that's where it goes back to our marketplace, because we also have specific companies besides what are what you get in the Guidewire cloud space around fraud detection. There's specific companies that absolutely focus on this, and over the years, picking up data behavioral patterns has been the big driver, and it's been highly successful to be able to identify, especially syndicates, in the insurance, and especially also in the broader financial banking as well, when it comes to fraud. So it's been and AI is coming more and more to the fore as to be able to identify these, because it's often very difficult for human intervention to pick up all these different points.
Yeah, fraud is a big issue. My other question I wanted to talk more about, but maybe we'll do that on another day, is the situation around claims. I think we can have a whole session around claims. And when is a claim as easy as that it's resolved quickly? Because we get a lot of feedback about the brokers having really challenges with their clients, where claims really delayed, and sometimes it's really not a difficult claim. So there is a lot of work still in that space that needs to be done, because I believe that our insurance industry are viewed on or criticized, or our people's views are because of how a claim is handled, right? The industry is good because they paid my claim, or they didn't pay my claim, or they took 5 months to pay a stupid car claim, or what it is. So I think there's a lot of work still needs to be done in the claim space. But I hear AI, but to me it feels that there's still a strong combo between the human and the AI elements when it comes to sorting maybe your little bit more complex claims. But that's
no, that's true. But I think AI will play a big role, but you still need that human touch at the end of the day, because humans are always finding a way to circumvent something, right?
Yes, we will. That's human nature.
So whatever checks and balances you put in place, there's always somebody finding a gap. So that will always be there, I think.
Like maybe lastly, a message to the people you believe need to hear this.
Yeah, we've covered a lot in this conversation. But I think, if we had to look at in South Africa, let's bring it back home and not necessarily the broader insurance discussion as so. We're operating in a tough socioeconomic environment. The economy isn't really growing. It affects business. It affects people's affordability of policies and stuff like that. And, and to add to that, the fluctuating climate challenges, which continuously seem to bring, those unexpected black swan events coming across the horizons. Besides, some of the political events that we've had. I think, the one thing is companies need to ensure that they are future-proofed against these unforeseen incidents, because you can't, and that's once again going to legacy and going to modern platforms like SaaS platforms. I mean, from a legacy perspective, you can develop to what you know, and often it's difficult to be able to develop to what you don't know. And to be able to future-proof yourself against unforeseen incidents, you need a robust, flexible platforms, that really are run by the best in the industry, and so they can concentrate. So the client, the customer, the firm, the insurer can concentrate on differentiating their value propositions, and really going that extra yard to meet their client expectations.
Thank you for your time, Leo. Really enjoyed it. It remains a hot and interesting topic, AI data technology, because it's changing fast, and it's the way that we have to equip ourselves and future-proof ourselves. So thank you for your insights.